Coming up now is another sparkling Two Mikes podcast.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. I'm delighted to say that Mr. Mike Parry is sitting to my right and looking in very good form, I may say.
That's very kind of you, Mike.
Very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, my boy. Good to see you. Good to be here. Not over-impressed with some of the listeners who so far are saying that as you've been talking about Jimmy White, an old pal of mine, and crack cocaine...
I bet you had no idea he was addicted to crack cocaine.
No, I certainly
Nobody
didn't.
did.
No, I certainly didn't.
I find it astonishing.
Yeah, it is astonishing, but... Some of the listeners are tweeting in, thinking they're being amusing, and saying to you, does that explain Porky's point of view sometimes? Is Porky on crack cocaine?
Well, somebody actually did ask me whether there's any kind of drug testing in place for you before you come in and start ranting and raving.
Harsh.
Very harsh indeed. I can exclusively reveal that you've always been not in need of any
drug-free.
Kind of... drug-free, but also in no need of outside stimulation.
Absolutely
on
not.
the grounds that you've always been a crazy person.
Yeah.
And God knows what you'd be like if you ever did any
drugs.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean...
Shocking.
And by the way, you shouldn't make jokes about people addicted to crack cocaine, because when you're addicted to crack cocaine, you are 2 steps away from death. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Well, that's why I'm even more amazed that Jimmy White was able to continually play snooker at a pretty high level.
I'm amazed.
Despite this 3-month kind of hiatus.
Yeah. If you read that stuff today, they were holed up in this hotel in Ireland.
In Ireland, Kildare, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, County Kildare. Him and
Kirk Stevens.
Kirk Stevens. Now,
chopping up furniture.
Chopping up furniture to start a fire, to boil the crack cocaine, because apparently you have to heat the crack cocaine till it goes into, like, vapour form, and then you sniff it up your nose or something, you know. But it's highly addictive, as we know. Well, I mean, we don't know.
We do know. I mean, I did loads of stories on it in the 80s in New York.
But I remember going to interview Kirk Stevens, right, and he was a guy who used to play in all white. That was his distinctive...
Right, Canadian guy.
Yeah, Canadian guy playing all white. And I remember I went to see him once and met him in a bar, to talk about something. He'd just won something. He never won a world champion or anything. And I got a drink in, and he'd ordered from the waiter a glass of orange or something. And he looked at my sort of rather large glass of, Chardonnay, I think I was on in those days. And he said, hey, mate, do you know what would happen to me if I took that glass of wine and put it down my throat? And I said, no. He said, no, neither do I. And that is why I have had to give it up altogether.
Well, now we know.
But now the timing of it all, it was in the era when all these players were, flying around the world. Clearly, he was a crack cocaine addict.
Yeah. Astonishing.
And part of that, I mean, you shouldn't laugh because these people deserve pity and all that kind of stuff. But he seems to have filtered off the scene a bit, Kirk Stevens, doesn't he? He doesn't seem to be around very much more. But in one part of that account by Jimmy White, which is the first part of the serialisation of his book... Yeah. Apparently, Kirk Stevens got so paranoid, locked himself away for 3 days. When Jimmy White turned up, and for some reason had an apple in his hand, for some reason, Kirk Stevens grabs the apple and eats the apple whole. With all the pips in it and the core and everything, because he was starving, because he wouldn't go out. So it's a terrible story.
It really is.
And a warning to us all. I have to say.
I'm just looking at today's instalment in the Sun, says, Jimmy White, I blew a fortune gambling. Some life he's had.
Well, he's had an incredible life. He used to live in Stockbroker Belt in Surrey. Oh, yeah. Not far from Leatherhead. And there's a little village around there called Claygate. Oh, yeah. We used to go to Claygate in the summer because right opposite a pub called the Swan in Claygate is absolutely... typical, quintessential England. There's a cricket pitch there. The boys play cricket, and then they come off, use the pub as the pavilion.
The
That's right. Come and have a beer and all that kind of stuff. And Jimmy was always there, and it was very hard to tell whether Jimmy White was on drugs or not because he's a very, very lively guy, and he used to bring his kids with him and all sorts of things.
I mean, he's a big favourite of the fans.
Of course he is.
The highlights so far in today's instalment. My 6 week bender with Hurricane Higgins, UB40, and Thin Lizzy. Yeah. I bet 20,000 on a horse, and I didn't care if it won. And then I went to see Paul McKenna, and we ended up in the Boozer. Yeah, I know. It's a bit like your stories, isn't it? Whenever you go to see anybody, you always end up in the pub.
Yeah, usually. That's a sociable place to go.
You spent all weekend in the pub, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No, I was tracking your movements very closely.
Because people were asking me over the course of the weekend, why is it that you're always posting pictures of where you go, and Porky never does? Well, I said it's quite simple. He only ever goes to one place, and that's the pub.
No, that's not true, and I don't think you should be putting out a load of selfies all the time.
We still have I didn't put any selfies out.
No, I know you didn't, but some of these people on Twitter, it's selfie after selfie after selfie, and it all becomes a bit sort of self-serving.
I did put one picture out of myself on the beach, because it was a very windy day. I
thought it was great. I thought it looked good. And I love the picture of the jar of Pimm's, which I could have literally picked up and drunk in one. It looked so good, because it was quite a warm day when I saw that one.
Yeah.
No, with old Jimmy White. So the people you said he mixed with there, Alex Hurricane Higgins, now dead, of course.
Yeah.
Thin Lizzy, Phil Lynott, the lead guitarist, now dead. Didn't he marry, what's her name's daughter? You know, the guy who was host of a load of shows, including Crackerjack and all that.
Oh, Leslie Crowther.
Leslie Crowther. He married his daughter,
did he? I think he might have done,
Yeah. But Alex Hurricane Higgins, I mean, that was a particularly sad case, because he was, of course, part of the crew that Jimmy White was in. And Higgins so abused himself, all his teeth dropped out.
Yeah.
Now, he rang me up once when he had no teeth.
Right.
And, no, he's no joking. And also, he was having a problem with his throat, because he used to smoke about 100 cigarettes a day.
He did, yeah.
So the phone goes, I'm working at the Daily Express, I answer it, sorry, who's that? And he was trying to say, is that you, Michael? In his Irish accent. Anyway, I got to meet him in some pub somewhere in Soho, you know what I mean?
Right.
My teeth taken out. My teeth are gone.
Unbelievable.
He had all his teeth taken out. He had a cyst on his vocal cords because of the smoking and all that kind of stuff. He weighed about 4.5 stone.
He looked terrible.
He was a skeletal figure. And if I didn't recognise him when I first walked in the pub, I thought it was somebody else. But, I mean, the Alex Higgins type scenario, I mean, he motored like mad. I'm surprised Alex Hurricane Higgins lasted as long as he did, to be honest. And, God rest his soul, he went in the end. It was all down to self-abuse and all that. But I used to see Alex Hurricane Higgins some mornings after tournaments, and I think he'd actually won one or something. And he, that impression that other snooker player used to do of him at World Tournaments. The guy I'm talking about. There was a very average snooker player who became a commentator.
Ray Reardon?
No, it wasn't Ray Reardon, no. But this guy used to do impressions of snooker players and accentuate their more obvious habits. And with Higgins, it was the twitch, and the fidget and the, polishing his cue with his chalk all the time and all that kind of stuff. It was very, very funny. It was very good.
John Virgo, maybe?
John Virgo. It was absolutely John Virgo, that's right. And Higgins was all of that. Higgins couldn't sit still for 3 minutes. For 30 seconds. If you bought him a drink and put it down there, well. He'd be up and out, and in those days you could smoke inside. He had 4 cigarettes on the go at one time. He would get up and go and order another log, despite the fact you just put one on the table for him and all that kind of stuff. He was clearly off his rocker through substances he was taking, whether that was lager, whether it was drugs or whatever, I don't know. But, I mean, he was completely off his rocker because he would do, sometimes when things weren't going his way, he'd do things like go over to Dennis Taylor, opponent, and say, the next time you're in Northern Ireland, I'm going to have you shot, which is slightly antagonistic towards your opponent, isn't it? In a gentleman's game. So it doesn't really surprise me. But anyway, I'm glad Jimmy White has cathartically now confessed to his excesses because, of course, he can get out of his system. Did you read the bit about trying to get off crack cocaine?
Yes, I did.
3 weeks in bed, shaking, stumbling. John Lennon wrote a song about that once, Cold Turkey. Cold turkey.
That was about heroin, though, wasn't it?
Has got me on the run. Well, it was about coming off drugs. It was very strong drugs. I mean, crack cocaine apparently gives you like a 4-second rush, but it's a high that's so high that you just have to have it again in the next 2 minutes and things like that.
Well, it was a massive drug in the 80s in New York, but it was mostly in, the very, very poor neighbourhoods, and people were just doing almost anything to get their hands on it, and there was a massive crime wave. And, of course, you might remember Marion Barry, the mayor of Washington, D.C., who was caught doing it.
That's right.
And then we had that guy recently, the Toronto mayor, who was filmed smoking crack all over the place.
Didn't Sid Vicious go down that route in the Chelsea Hotel?
He might have done.
I'm sure he did, him and Nancy Spungen. I think they were crack cocaine freaks, weren't they?
Possibly.
Doesn't matter what you say, I'm afraid they're both dead as well.
Yeah, no, true. Very true.
A legacy of a wasted youth, I would say. Indeed.
Absolutely right. Now, we'll talk about the weekend
coming up.
Good
old Jimmy White. I'm glad you're back on it, Jimmy. That is on Life's Straight and Narrow. That's the place to be, believe me. I've been tempted to come off the straight and narrow sometimes, but I've always
We haven't asked you for a sermon while you're here. There isn't time for that. Look into the light for a moment. We've got lots more to do. We've got lots to talk about. I haven't even asked him yet how he managed to mistake Hull for Swansea. This is Talk Sport.
Straight and narrow. humming.
Why are you humming?
Well, that's Stranger on the Shore, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, that was the... Now, this is an amazing thing. Acker Bilk has sadly passed away, and there's big eulogies to him in all the papers. Acker Bilk, the great... but he only ever made one record that anybody remembers, and that's this one.
Well,
and I think this is in 1961.
True.
Or 1962.
Well, it's not so much that he only made one record.
It's over 50 years ago. He did. He only made one record.
To be honest, have got the gall to even say anything about Acker Bilk, given
Why?
At the weekend you said it was very sorry that you saw the news that the great saxophonist Acker Bilk had died. Well, he didn't play the saxophone.
Well, I bet he could play the saxophone.
He played the clarinet.
No, I bet he could play the saxophone.
Well, he might have
because these jazz guys always did. And I'm certain
he was not famous for playing the saxophone.
I'm certain I've seen him playing a saxophone. But anyway,
you know what a saxophone looks like?
Of course I know what a saxophone looks like.
Every picture you see of Acker Bilk, he's playing.
I agree.
Clearly a reed instrument.
I agree.
And not a brass instrument. You do know the difference between the two.
Of course I do. What do you mean, a reed and brass? What are you on about?
Well, a brass instrument like a saxophone, or a trumpet, or a trombone, made of brass, that kind of thing.
That's true.
And a reed instrument, because it's made out of a reed that goes into your mouth.
That's right, like a flute or whatever,
Yeah,
now,
or a clarinet, in fact.
Clarinet, Now, what was the greatest saxophone solo ever? It's been voted it recently.
Saxophone. Well, I mean, it's not a question. If it's been voted, that doesn't mean it's the greatest saxophone solo
It does,
ever.
because I agree with it.
Well,
I
it's
agree.
probably something by Kenny G, then.
No, it wasn't. It was
Clarence Clements?
No, it's
in Bruce Springsteen.
No, it's the opener to Baker Street.
Oh, Jerry Rafferty. Oh, yeah, okay. Who played that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Some saxophonist.
Saxophonist. So you don't know who played it?
Well, I don't know. I don't have a list of the 20 greatest world saxophonists.
Well, Clarence Clements was generally known as the greatest sax player in rock music.
Oh, what did he play on then?
He played with Bruce Springsteen band.
Oh, did he? Yeah. Right, okay. Well, I don't think he did the Jerry...
no, I don't think he did do Baker Street.
Baker Street, with Jerry Rafferty.
But
that was a great
Bilk
one.
Either.
No, but what I'm saying is, so Acker Bilk...
What are you saying?
Acker Bilk made a great life for himself. He was a little podgy guy, came from Somerset, right? And he came up to town...
have pointed out in the past, notably on Twitter over the weekend, that they echo what I say. When you look in the mirror, what do you see?
No.
Describing these little podgy guys.
Well, hang on. You can't deny he was a little podgy fella, and that doesn't mean to say that just because I carry a little bit of loose summer weight, he is. But anyway, look. So he learns how to play the clarinet. And then he, good for himself. He gets this image of wearing a bowler hat, a bow tie, and a striped waistcoat.
Yeah.
And his name was, something like William Richard Bilk,
Bernard Stanley Bilk.
Bernard Stanley Bilk, that's right, yeah. But he called himself Acker, because he came from Somerset, and he talked like this,
And Acker is a Somerset
Acker is
slang.
mate. It's all right, me Acker, down in Somerset, where the Wurzels are very famous. I've got a brand new combine harvester, and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
So he comes up into the big town, brings this image with him, and great, it works. Good for him. Now, he got to number one with Stranger on the Shore 2 years before the Beatles had a number one in America. How about that? Stayed there for about 16 weeks, became world famous. I remember to this day the haunting sort of Top of the Pops video that, I don't have videos in those days. Yeah, haunting. They showed a woman walking along the shore.
1962.
1962. I was about 6.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do. Honest to God. And thinking.
I don't remember that far back.
Well, no,
I wasn't old enough.
You haven't got a retentive memory. Your memory's been largely wrecked
and
ruined
I'm not 60.
By the amount of booze you've put through your body in the last 50 years. Jugs of Pimm's, downing them in one at weekends.
You can't remember what we did last week. Never mind what happened in 1962.
So old Acker Bilk makes one record, becomes world famous, and
did he make a lot of money off it, do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think he made a reasonable living. I think once he'd made that record, then he could book, the theatre in Sheffield and the theatre in Newcastle and all that. People come along, and then what these guys do is, and this is where they go wrong, they play, music nobody else wants to hear for about 90 minutes, and then they play Stranger on the Shore, and that's what everybody goes for. Now, what I would do to give value for money...
I'm not sure that's true. I mean,
to give value for money...
aficionados like to hear lots of different jazz songs.
No, so it was rubbish, though, wasn't it? He didn't have any other number one hits. So
it's not about that.
Hang on. So what I'm saying is that what you should do is you should open with,
Well, then everyone might leave then by your sort of evaluation.
No, because then what you say is...
people like you would go, all right, he's played it now, we might as well go home.
No, you fool. You see, you haven't listened to what I'm saying. And then you say, thank you very much indeed, there'll be a final rendition of that at the end of the concert. That's what I would do, wouldn't you? I mean, when Paul McCartney used to go and sing with Wings, right, I think the only record that a lot of people wanted to hear was Muller Kintyre because it was so evocative, so emotive. So he should have opened and closed with that, instead of which he played all these Wings songs. And by the way,
he had a very large repertoire from which to choose.
I'm being but you see, people who went to see Paul McCartney live actually wanted to hear a lot of Beatles songs. Right. They wanted to hear Get Back.
Well, he always did things like I Saw Her Standing There and all that.
Yeah, but that was very early, wasn't it? They wanted to hear Let It Be. They wanted to hear, all the great Beatles hits. Well, maybe Yesterday, but that was a bit of a ballad, wasn't it? But, Penny Lane, Strawberry Fields, all that kind of stuff. A lot of those were written by Lennon.
He didn't do any of that, though, did he?
Sorry?
He never did any of that.
No, and this is my point. And so for 20 years, you went touring around the world with Wings. They were very successful. I mean, they used to fill venues with 120,000 people in the Maracana in Brazil and all this kind of stuff because he was Paul McCartney, Maracanã, because he was Paul McCartney. But then, when Wings broke up and he went on tour on his own, he suddenly decided to switch to playing just Beatles songs. And, of course, everybody, including myself, used to flock to places like the O2 and watch him. What's that got to do with Acker Bill? Well,
I don't know, but before you keep raving, I don't know why you're raving on about it. I don't know if you follow Paul McCartney on Twitter, do you?
No.
Because funnily enough, he put out a tweet today, which I thought was kind of unusual for somebody like him.
Oh, yeah.
He puts out this tweet that says, Wings are one of the most successful acts the UK has ever produced, achieving 14 US top 10 hits and 12 top 10 UK hits.
Yeah, I saw that.
Why would he have to say that?
Well, I don't know. He must have read something somewhere saying how good were Wings or something like that. You know what I mean? Denny Lane is 70, I think. I read somewhere, yeah. Denny Lane...
It just seems an odd thing to put out, really.
Denny Lane wrote Go Now. You know that great song with the...
What, by the Moody Blues?
Yeah. Bom, 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 bom. Yes, Go Now.
That doesn't sound like Go Now.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was opened with a crashing piano sort of intro, wasn't it? And
that's right.
And a brilliant song.
How many followers do you think Paul McCartney's got?
Oh, millions, I should imagine.
2.1 million.
2.1 million.
Not that many.
Do you know how many?
Wayne Rooney's got 10 million.
Who?
Wayne Rooney.
Do you know how...
Remember him? The guy who wrote the book about.
Yes.
The one who wrote the book about.
Don't be sarcastic.
The one who saved your life by sending you a shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
Remember that guy?
Don't be sarcastic. What I was going to say was that Harry Styles... No, excuse me. I've got over my cold, by the way.
Thank God for that.
I'm going to have the flu jab this week now. I went and arranged it today.
Oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
No, because if you have a flu jab, you will then get the flu again.
No, I won't.
Do you mind waiting until after Thursday?
Do you know how many followers Harry Styles has got?
About 28 million.
22.1 million.
Yeah.
I saw it the other day.
Not quite as many as Ronaldo.
That is... Why? How many's Ronaldo got?
I think he's got about 28 or 30 million.
I think he has got 30 million. I think you're right. I think he's got about 30 million. Unbelievable, the power these people have. And I mean, how much would that be worth commercially for Ronaldo to say, after the game tonight, I got hold of my new deodorant and gave it a spray under each arm. I mean,
probably about 28 million.
I was going to say, that would be worth a lot of money, wouldn't it? I think I need to get into that market, Mike. I think I need to sort of say on Twitter, after I had the show with you, something like, finished the show tonight and needed, Factor X energy drink or something like that and see what happens.
Well, maybe you could do that.
Maybe you could do that, yeah. Maybe.
See what happens. Do you know who's got the most followers on Twitter?
Most followers on Twitter?
Yeah, have a guess.
Well, if it's not Ronaldo...
It's not Ronaldo.
It's not Ronaldo. Somebody got more than Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Wow, hang on. So somebody's got more than Ronaldo. Got to be a pop star?
Hey?
Pop star?
Pop star, yes.
Is it somebody like Lady Gaga?
Somebody like that. Female.
Yeah, female.
Yeah.
Oh, in that case, it could be Beyonce.
Not Beyonce.
Lady Gaga.
I mean, it could be anyone. I'm not going to hold you to it because it's tough. Katy Perry.
Katy Perry. How many has she got?
60-odd million, I think.
You're joking.
Incredible.
60 million, that's incredible. I heard a Lady Gaga song on the radio
well, they used to do a Lady Gaga song on here as a TalkSport riff for you, didn't they?
Oh, did they?
Do you not remember it?
No, I don't actually. No.
Porky Face. You can probably dig it out.
I didn't know about that.
That was a Lady Gaga song. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't. I've
you
never
remember
heard
the
of
trailer, don't you?
No, not really.
No?
But I was...
You say I've got no memory.
I was switching through a few channels. I had a nightmare journey back from the coast yesterday.
Did you?
I mean, absolute nightmare.
You were moaning about coming in tonight as well.
Well, tonight they've closed down half of South London. So coming up from old Stockbroker Belt, they don't care about people who come up from the Shires. Stockbroker Belt.
You pronounced it differently there for a second.
No. They don't care about people from the Shires.
Stockbroker Belt.
The Stockbroker Belt. They only care about people who are already in the city. But anyway, the point I was going to make was...
What was the point
yesterday, I decided...
I thought we were going to talk about Halloween.
We are going to talk about Halloween because yesterday was the day after Halloween, and this is the point. No, I thought it was an early getaway.
Saturday was the day after Halloween.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I thought an early getaway, and I did, and then it poured down with rain. The consequence of pouring down with rain.
The weather.
Consequence of pouring down with rain. The tunnel at Hindhead got shut. Now
did it?
there is one main
Box Hill.
There's one main road from Portsmouth. Yes, that's right. Yeah. One main road from Portsmouth to London.
Right.
That is the A3.
The A3, yeah.
Part of it is the A3M, but halfway along is a little village called Hindhead.
I know Hindhead. A friend of mine used to live there.
Is that
still
right?
does,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and
you play golf there. Very nice golf course.
You used to have to come off the main road and divert around this little village, I'm not joking. And then
there's traffic lights, isn't there?
Yeah, that's right. Drive down a country road and get back onto the main A3, OK?
Yeah.
Because there was a big hill there, big hill, called Hindhead Hill.
Was that Box Hill?
No, Box Hill's further up in Surrey.
Right.
Anyway, over a number of years, they built a tunnel right the way through the middle of the hill, which was brilliant, and one continuous road. Guess what? Yesterday it rained and they closed it. Now, I don't know why they closed it. I can't imagine it'd be flooded or anything because it's a brand new tunnel, and it doesn't actually go down and up like most tunnels. It goes straight through. You see what I mean?
What do you mean it doesn't go down and up?
Well, because most tunnels go down and then come up at the other end. Of course they do.
Rubbish. No, if they go through a hill.
No.
If they go through a hill, they go straight.
Hang on, the tunnel under the River Mersey...
Yeah, that's going under a river.
Yes, that's right. Goes down.
Yeah, but this is a tunnel that goes through a hill.
Most tunnels go down and up. They do.
What about the Mont Blanc tunnel? Where does that go?
I've never been through the Mont Blanc tunnel.
You?
But that just goes up, I think, you know.
No, it doesn't just go up. It goes through a mountain, so it goes flat.
Yeah, it's going up through a mountain. I'm telling you, this tunnel is a very unusual tunnel. It's horizontal.
So it's not unusual tunnel.
It is a very unusual tunnel. A horizontal tunnel is a very unusual tunnel. It is. Tunnels go down and come up.
They don't.
An aeroplane goes up and goes down. A tunnel goes down and comes up. OK?
Really? Thank you very much indeed. More
civil
from,
engineering
principles.
principles.
He actually studied this, supposedly. A complete blank. This is Talk Sport.
There's something strange in your neighborhood. Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! There's something weird and it don't look good.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry, of course. We are the Two Mikes. You can tweet us at the Two Mikes. Lots of people have about Acker-Bilk, and I've got a couple of corrections to make for you, Mr. Parry.
Oh, yeah. Why, have you been misinforming the audience again?
No, you have, I'm
No,
afraid.
I haven't. I didn't say who the saxophone player for Jerry Rafferty was, but you did, and you've got it wrong.
No, I didn't say who it was. I didn't know who it was.
You said it was the same guy who played for Bruce Springsteen.
No, I did not say that.
And you gave us a name.
Yeah, Clarence Clements.
There you go, and it wasn't Clarence, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No.
My exact words were, Clarence Clements did not play the saxophone at the beginning of that song. But that's not the correction I'm referring to.
Right.
The correction I'm referring to is this from Nev, who says, Mike Parry keeps saying Acker-Bilk was number one. Yeah. He was number one in the US, but never number one in the UK.
Is
Apparently,
that right?
The young ones kept it off the top of the charts.
The young ones.
And he also says,
darling, we're the young
hang on, the next bit is more interesting.
That was Cliff Richard.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Also, he was never on Top of the Pops with Stranger on the Shore, number 2, 1962, as Top of the Pops didn't start till 1964.
That's a bit of a problem.
Yeah. So, unless you're in a time machine...
It must have been re-released.
Well, maybe it was.
Released.
Also, here's this one from Peter in Wallasey.
Yeah.
Warning, he says, the facts of Porky are wrong again. Stranger on the Shore was a Sunday tea time children's adventure drama, and the theme became a hit in 1962. And he also says Top of the Pops did not start until 1964.
Yeah, OK.
R.I.P. Acker-Bilk.
All right. Well, I'm telling you, I have seen a video, or whatever they used to call him in those days, you know.
They probably still call him a video.
A movie, or what? Well, I didn't know what a video was. They didn't have any videos in 1962, Mike. So it would have been...
No, I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, well, he didn't know.
I was only barely alive.
Yeah, exactly. So they did a moving photogenic tribute thing to the Acker-Bilk song, because I remember seeing the seashore, and I remember him sitting on a rock and playing his what was it, the piccolo,
clarinet.
The clarinet. I remember him sitting on a rock playing his clarinet and looking distant into the shore, and a lady, you know, a beautiful lady with a swirling, you know, sort of shawl on, walking along. Not a caftan, no, swirling along the shore. So wherever I saw that was on some show. It was probably something like Jukebox Jury or something like that.
Maybe.
Which was do you remember Jukebox Jury?
David Jacobs.
David Jacobs, Jukebox Jury. I'll give it 5, said the girl from Birmingham. That was on Jukebox Jury, wasn't it?
Well, I don't remember
it was
all
on
these shows.
Something like that. But anyway,
I'll give you some more information. Jerry says Raphael Ravenscroft played the sax on Baker Street. He passed away just last month, 19th of October.
No, did he? Well, how sad is that?
How sad is that? What a coincidence.
All our great musicians suddenly kicking a bucket.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about, not a lot of time to do it. So let's talk about Halloween, because Halloween was a big thing for me. I had to go back to the family seat and entertain the kids.
I heard you talking earlier. The only people who bothered knocking on your door were your neighbours. They did it 8 times. Why?
Well, that's because there aren't anybody. We don't have any other neighbours.
Do you have a non-welcoming sign above the door, like get lost, kids? I'm not in the mood.
No, I just live in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, of course you live in the middle of nowhere.
So nobody will find the house.
You live in the middle of nowhere because your antisocial behaviour in the past has caused you to be cast out of society.
I'm very happy not to have too many neighbours. To be honest,
I'll be perfectly honest, Mike. If I hadn't called her for a quick drink on the way home, I wouldn't have known it was Halloween.
There's an awful lot of people dressing up these days, aren't there?
An awful lot of people dressing up. So I went home then, and I did batten down the hatches. I didn't be bothered by anybody on Halloween.
Have you got a lot of kids in your building?
Yes, there are a few. Yeah, there are a few. Yeah, a few kids. And
did they not knock on your door then?
No, they can't knock on my door because fortunately I've got a protective gate which stops them getting to the door. So what are you?
I've seen your protective gate. It's like a prison door.
No, it's not a prison door.
It is. It's like a prison door. Have you ever been broken into?
No.
Because it's the kind of thing somebody puts on the front of their door if they've ever been broken into.
No, nobody can break into my apartment.
Yeah, but why have you got the gate there?
Well, because I don't want to break in. Because the thing is, I had that put in about 10 years ago when I first moved into the place and do an awful lot of travelling.
It's like some kind of drug dealer's place in the Bronx.
It's not. It's
got a great big wrought iron gate on the front and it's in a hallway.
No. Like 10, 12 years ago, and I had that fitted, I was on the road constantly. We were doing competition abroad. I was following England around the world, all that kind of stuff. I was away an awful lot. I was away most weekends, following Everton or working on talks or something like that.
Brick it up.
So, if I could, I would. So what I did is I installed this gate and I got a fire officer after I'd installed it to come and check that it was, fine and all that.
Yeah.
And he said it would take somebody 2 hours to break that gate open.
Really?
And I said, what? He said, honestly, Mike, he said, you would need a circular saw that cuts through metal. You would need...
Like an angle grinder.
Yeah, an angle grinder, something like that. You would need...
It'd be easier to just go through the wall.
Yeah, it would be. He said it would be easier. Do you know what he said? He said if we had to do it to get into your apartment quickly, he said we'd go through the ceiling here, this side of the door, and smash our way through the ceiling on the other side of the door to get in. It'd be quicker. He said that would be quicker.
It's probably like a full ceiling, like most.
Maybe. But I mean, that would make quite a lot of noise if I was in bed and a burglar was trying to break in through my ceiling. You'd probably hear that.
It depends how long you've been out of the pub that day.
Well, I suppose so. Yeah. But anyway, talking about Halloween. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with my gate. My gate is white, so it's not black. Okay, so it's not like a.
Oh no, but it's very unsightly.
It's not unsightly.
It is unsightly.
How dare you say that and tell our audience I've got an unsightly home?
Well, the gate is unsightly.
Can I? No, it's not. It
looks like the sort of place that you don't want to go anywhere near.
No. It's white, and you can't even see the fact that it's a gate with bars.
Yes, you can.
Because I've got beautiful metalwork of flowers and petals up and down the bars.
Yeah, but it's still a gate.
To make it look like it looks like a living gate. It looks like.
Yeah, but it's in the middle of a hallway.
Looks like I know it's in the middle of a hallway because
it would
an approach to a penthouse apartment like mine is along the hallway.
There's a door opposite you, right?
Hallway.
Which doesn't have one.
Well, that's hard.
So it looks out of place.
Yeah, but you know what the person opposite did when I fitted my gate? They said, "Oh, what have you done that for?" I said, "Well, you can never be too sure." I said, "This is a good neighbourhood. None of the apartments here have ever been broken into, but I'm not going to be the first. People go up to the top because they think it's isolated, although they have a hard time."
This just tells me more about your paranoia.
Hang on. They have a hard time getting the big tellies down, I said, so they usually throw them out the window and all that and try and recover them and all that kind of stuff.
They throw them out the window?
Well, they let them down through the window. They put...
They don't throw them, do they?
No. They tie clothing lines.
Unless you're having your place burgled by Keith Moon.
No, yeah, that's right, yeah. They what they do is they tie clothing lines around all the heavy bits, right, and they let them out of the window to their evil accomplice below, who then takes them and puts them in the back of the van, and they're off with all your stuff. You know, you could lose your washing machine.
You really do worry about this stuff, don't you?
I do.
Your washing machine.
So
if you see people like Laurel and Hardy are robbing you now, they're trying to take a washing machine down a washing line.
Yeah, the people do nick washing machines, believe it or not. They do. Yeah, they do, yeah. But anyway, look.
So heavy.
Well, they are quite heavy, but there's 2 or 3 people doing it. So the person opposite, who's not the person who lives there now...
No, they moved away, obviously. They thought, this nutter next door just put a bloody great gate up, and we only live in a flat.
Why
do they move away?
Why do I have to put up with your complete and utter cynicism of people trying to live their lives properly? Live their lives properly.
Of course they moved away.
But anyway, the guy who lived opposite, he was an accountant or something, and he said, that's a very expensive gate. And I said, it is. But I said, if it
Did you point out the lovely... how did you describe it?
The metalwork, the metal artwork, you know.
Did you have it handmade?
Yeah, I did. I did. I had them made, and I had them put all over the front. It looks like a beautiful piece of ornament. It looks like a beautiful ornament.
No, it looks like a prison door.
It does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And that's very unfair of you to give that impression to our listeners. Anyway, point of the story is, the guy opposite said, I'm on nerves. He said, but that's so expensive and all. I don't want to get out of trouble. So he then went and ordered 3 more locks to be put on his front door, New York style, you know what I mean? So I had 4 locks altogether. Anyway, I said, that's useless. He said, why? I said, I could break in through that door in about 15 seconds flat. He said, no, you couldn't. It's got 4 locks in it. I said, yes. I said, but you don't understand the strategy of security, do you? That will save the left-hand side of your door because it's got 4 locks on it. The right-hand side of your door has got the hinges which attach it to the door frame, but in the middle...
you're wondering why this guy moved away.
In the middle, there's nothing, and I went and got a sledgehammer, and I said, I could smash my way through... Really. I did. You know, those little sledgehammers that, only got like a very short handle. And I said, I could smash my way through your door in 15 seconds.
Where did you get the sledgehammer from?
Well, I had it in the house, didn't I?
Why have you got a sledgehammer?
Well, because over the years you accumulate tools, don't you?
You accumulate sledgehammer.
Yes, you do.
Sledgehammer's got a very long handle.
No, this one's got very short. It's a very short sledgehammer. Well, it's like
a mallet.
It's like a mini sledgehammer. Yeah, mallet. It's like a mallet thing. That's right. Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. And
oh dear.
And I told him with a sturdy pair of boots, right?
Sure, it wasn't like a meat mallet.
No.
For tenderising meat.
I told him with a sturdy pair of boots, right, and my sledgehammer. I could get through his door in about 30 seconds flat. I mean,
you didn't start smashing it in, did you?
Well, I told him I would if he wanted to, and I'd pay for a new door just to illustrate that I'd like him to have a safer door.
You're wondering why he moved away?
No, I'd like him to have a safer door because if he's got a weakened door and the local evil burglars find out, then that'll attract them to our building. So I'm serious. I'm serious.
You could have put a gate in the hallway so that both of your doors were behind another gate.
Yeah, well, I think that's a ludicrous level of security then. Which, no, it does. It makes that would turn you. That would turn your house into a prison.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Don't live in a prison.
This is Talk Sport.
It's a nice day to start again. Come on, it's a nice day for a white wedding. It's a nice day to start again.
This is Talk Sport Extra Time. We are the Two Mics. You can find us at the Two Mics, of course, at Mike Parry 8 and at IROMG. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on today. You recognise that because that's your era, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I met, that's Billy Idol, isn't it? It is. Right, I met Billy Idol in LAX, Los Angeles Airport, when he was flying back to England at the height of his... There was this one, and the other one was... In the midnight hour, we go more.
That's right.
More. Remember that one?
Yeah.
And they both came in a few months
called
with each other.
Rebel Yell.
Rebel Yell, that's the one, yeah. And he had his white hair and everything, you know what I mean? He was a really iconic pop star. Yeah. And for some unknown reason, I was in Los Angeles coming back to London, and I got an upgrade, and I was in the first-class lounge.
Super.
Yes, it's very nice. It was British Airways. Always had a good relationship with British Airways. Always.
You said you only ever took an upgrade if you paid for it.
Well, no, I sort of accepted it as a benefit.
As a gift?
No, as to help out British Airways, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
And all that kind of stuff. And anyway, the point of the story is...
You must have been in some state where they took you off the plane in London.
Well, it's such a long flight. It's such a long flight.
It's about 10 hours, isn't it?
Oh, no, about 13.
Is it?
And you can sleep it off after, the excesses. So the excesses started in... I mean, can you imagine being in the first-class lounge with free booze, endless free booze, for 3 hours with Billy Idol?
Yeah.
And then getting on a plane and sitting next to him for another 6 hours. You know, I mean, it was fantastic, really. You know, all the crew on British Airways were all, fussing around him, all that kind of stuff, and the reflected sort of glory was rather nice. But I mean, I was part of the great media circus in those days, so I was entitled to be part of it, so to speak.
Quite right.
Anyway. Point is, the reason you're playing that is because, amazingly, I found out that Sean Bean, who is one of my favourite actors,
is he? Yeah.
He is now actually contemplating getting married for the 5th time.
Blimey.
The 5th time.
A glutton for punishment.
I mean, you are constantly criticising me, having a go at me, trying to demean me and belittle me for the fact I've never been married.
I'll just point out that you've never been married.
Who is the better of the two men?
Which I think is a bit odd.
Who is the better of the two men?
I don't know Sean Bean particularly well.
The man who decides that marriage is such a serious proposition, I'm not sure I'm up to it, so I'm not even going to try it once in case it fails and I ruin a load of people's lives.
But that's like
and
saying,
I abandon a load of children.
But that's like saying that, I'm slightly nervous about driving, so I'm never going to learn to drive a car.
Or is it Sean
And I'm
Bean?
going to let somebody else drive me around, and they can get 5 different cars, but I'll be happier because I don't own a car.
Or is it Sean Bean?
Or you should just ignore that.
I'm
analogy.
not ignoring it. I'm taking in what you're saying, but it's not altering my opinion of the question I've got to put to you.
Well, I can't answer that
question. Or is Sean Bean, now getting married for the 5th time, is he the fool about marriage, or am I the fool about marriage? Who is the fool about marriage?
I would like to say...
Who is the fool about
perhaps
marriage?
both of you are, and the answer to true happiness is somewhere in the middle, such as someone like me, for example.
Yeah.
I haven't been married 5 times, and neither have I never been married. Therefore, that would...
but you've had enough relationships to have got married 5 times.
That would seem to be...
Haven't you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Yes, you have.
I've had no more relationships than anybody else has had.
Over the years.
No, not really. Well, have you never had a long-term relationship with somebody you thought you might marry?
Yeah, I have actually, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Was she already married?
No. In fact, I did once.
You didn't just go out with her so that you could cheat at the exams on shorthand?
No.
You didn't just go out with her because her boyfriend...
I actually proposed to a woman once.
You didn't actually go out with her because your boyfriend was out at sea fishing? You didn't just go out with her so that you could get yourself a new sofa or something like that?
No.
You actually proposed to somebody?
Mad? What's that got to do with it?
Well, that's because you're always trying to get something out of somebody.
Rubbish, utter rubbish. Anyway, look.
So you proposed to somebody. Tell us about this then.
Oh, no. It's another story.
You don't need breaking news.
You don't need to hear about
breaking news.
No, it all went wrong. You don't need to hear about it.
You've never told the story before.
You don't need to hear about it.
Who did you propose to?
It doesn't matter.
Anybody I know?
It doesn't matter. Look,
was she conscious at the time?
I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to get into this. Once again, mocking and deriding.
Oh, dear.
You can't even answer the question. If Sean Bean has got 4 failed marriages behind him, and he's a great actor and a great guy, he's a big football fan, Sheffield United fan, a blade, right? I mean, who am I to comment on Sean Bean's life? He's been very successful as an actor.
You were asking the question, aren't you?
But he's now going to his 5th marriage. Now,
maybe he's very happy about that.
This comes on the back, right, of me reading an interview over the weekend, because I extensively explore, the cultural pages
down the
pub. No, not down the pub, of a lot of our publications, to discover that Patsy Kensit does not regret any one of her 4 marriages.
Well, there you are then. So she's not unhappy about it.
So you've got Patsy Kensit married 4 times, Sean Bean about to get married 5 times, 9 marriages between them. I haven't got married at all. Who has been the more responsible in the conduct of their relationships with people when it comes to entering into the sacred sanctity of marriage? Sanctity, that's right.
Can't even say it.
Sanctity of marriage, hey? That's all I'm asking.
I mean, you can't say really, because you can't judge other people. Patsy Kensit may think that you're weird.
Yes.
You may think that she's had too many marriages. In the end, surely, you just embrace it and you accept people for what they are. I don't judge people, unlike you. Just because Patsy Kensit has been married 4 times, just because Sean Bean... Why are you doing that with your pen?
Sorry, go on.
Is getting married for the 5th time.
I was just wrapping my teeth.
Good luck to him. If the guy wants to be married... I mean, I can't imagine anything worse than being married 5 different times to 5 different women. I wouldn't personally do it.
Right.
But for him, maybe it's a great thing.
Right, here's a clue to how he might, maybe, and hopefully he won't, reflect on this later. After his 4th divorce, I tracked down what he had to say. He said after the 4th one, he said, "Of course I believe in love. There is nobody who doesn't believe in love, but marriage that fits some people, obviously, is not for me." And so...
What does he mean by that?
Well, it's close to coming as he could do to say never again, because, after being sort of burnt 4 times, he wasn't going to get involved again. By the way, shall I tell you something about Sean Bean, which I know, which is very interesting? You'll find this very interesting. You know the film in which Sean Bean was in, the James Bond film?
Yes.
Can you remember what it was called?
I can't, no.
OK, well, John will tell us in a minute, because he's an expert on this.
You say?
It could be Goldeneye, Goldeneye. And
anyway, he was also in A Clear and Present Danger, I think, wasn't he?
What, was that
with Harrison Ford? No,
no.
Tom Clancy film.
Think about the James Bond film, and I'm not sure yet what it was called, but we'll find that imminently.
Well, I think it was Goldeneye.
Goldeneye, OK. But do you remember the start of it? James Bond, played by Pierce Brosnan, leaps off the dam, the huge dam in Russia, goes down on a bungee rope, OK? And that's the way they gain entry to the control room of the dam.
Goldeneye you're describing.
Goldeneye, right, OK. I spoke to a stuntman last week. Right? I just happened to be talking to this stunt guy.
Oh, yeah.
And
like you do.
Yeah, and, he's in the League of Stuntmen and all that kind of stuff. And he told me that the stuntman who jumped off that cliff to do that because he descended so rapidly from a great height to a lower height, passed out on the way down.
Did he?
Passed out.
Right.
He went unconscious because of the change in the amount of oxygen. And so when he got to the bottom, just before the rope came back, he was supposed to shoot somebody with a gun, but the gun dropped out of his hand because he was unconscious. So what they had to do...
dangerous.
Yeah, it does, yeah. So what they had to do is they had to do it again, and the producer said, we're only going to do it one more time. Yeah. If this doesn't work, forget it. And they had to find somebody whose job was to not pass out. You know, they had to give him, like, extra oxygen or something like that. But they found the critical moment at which you pass out is when you get right to the bottom. So the instruction to the stuntman was, for God's sake, when you feel you're just about to pass out, fire the shot, you know, let the blaze come out the gun, and then we don't care if you pass out or not, as long as we get that shot. You see what I mean? And they did it once, and they got it. But it was an extremely tricky stunt. And you must admit that's a very interesting story.
No, it's not, actually.
It is interesting.
I don't know why you bothered telling me that.
Because Sean Bean was in the film.
Because it's all about you. Yeah, because you met a stuntman.
No, because Sean Bean was in the film, and Sean Bean...
Nothing to do with Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, who we thought was, you know, a great sort of agent, like, he was 008, I think, wasn't he, in that film?
He was a former agent, I think, who'd gone bad, wasn't he?
Well, this is what I'm saying. We didn't know he'd gone bad at that time. But he was 006. I've just been told he was 006, OK? So 006, so he's more senior in the ranks than James Bond 007, but he actually turned turkey and betrayed us in that film. Not Sean Bean, of course, but the character he was playing, 006.
Well, it sounds to me like Sean Bean's having a whale of a time, meanwhile you're not. And can you explain to me why you thought that Everton were playing Hull at the weekend?
I didn't think that at all. What
you put
happened
out a tweet that said Everton are going to beat Hull 3-1.
I know I did. But I mean...
But why did you?
Because there's so many things going on in my head at the same time. So I'd been watching... on the Gogglebox, Newcastle-Liverpool, OK?
Right.
And Liverpool lost 1-0. All I did was say, you know, well done to Newcastle, really. Got 3 points and that kind of stuff. Now my fingers are crossed for Everton. And you know what it's like, Mike. You're reading papers all morning. You're looking at what's going on.
I don't know what it's like.
And I'm thinking about something else and reading something. And I admit I put down Hull instead of Swansea. Bit stupid, but luckily... my brain clicked into gear within a megasecond and managed to correct it.
Yeah, unfortunately,
although,
it was a 0-0 draw, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
No firepower at Everton, I keep telling you.
Although, of course, I got a lot of very unfair stick from the
Here's some more stick coming your way.
Go on.
Here's one from, let's see, where is it? Jimmy in Kent.
Oh, Jimmy,
says, take the shovel away from Porky. The stars who appeared on Jukebox Jury voted the songs they heard either hit or miss. I'll Give It 5 was taken from a talent show called New Faces, which appeared years later.
No, it wasn't.
And somebody else says, wrong again, I'll Give It 5 was from a woman called Janet. Not on Jukebox Jury. Yeah. She was on Thank Your Lucky Stars.
That's it. Thank Your Lucky Stars.
So it still wasn't Jukebox Jury.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, before we go, because we're going to run out of time in a minute.
We are.
What about Brendan Rodgers in Liverpool?
It's really interesting.
And Steven Gerrard. What's going on?
It's really interesting.
We'll have to explore this further on Thursday,
we definitely will, because by then we'll know how they got on the Burnabout tomorrow night.
Well,
Live here on
Talksport. Big surprise, is it?
Old Mickey's going to be there, and old Quinny's going to the Burnabout for the first time to watch it. Very good. Well done, Mickey. Have a good trip, pal. What I was going to say was King Kenny Rogers bought Suarez, which you can imagine. You know,
King Kenny Rogers.
Sorry. King. Sorry, I don't know why I'm calling him King.
Country music stars mixed up there.
Kenny Dalglish. Well, it was our producer David who called him King Kenny, and I thought, who's he? Who's he?
King Kenny Dalglish.
No, yeah.
There's Kenny Rogers.
Right, Kenny Dalglish.
And then there's Brendan Rodgers.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That's what I got them mixed up with. I got Brendan Rodgers and
We'll
Dalglish
have to have an amalgam of the three faces.
But anyway, Kenny Dalglish bought Suarez, as you can imagine, because he's a great player, and Dalglish was a great player.
Yeah.
And Rodgers was a lucky manager inheriting Suarez in his prime season. And now Suarez is gone. He's struggling to cope with the team. And I think that the Gerrard thing... I think Gerrard might have provoked Brendan Rodgers by giving that interview to two papers last week. Was it end of last week or start of this week?
Yeah, saying that he'd go somewhere else.
And he said, I might go somewhere else. And I think that might have irritated Brendan Rodgers a little bit. And Brendan Rodgers slapped back by saying, well, we can't play in every game now because if you're getting towards the end of your career and all that, you might not be able to put up with it. And it's a very interesting situation.
It
very
really
interesting.
Is. Mr. Parry, thank you very much indeed.
A pleasure.
Some real gems he came out with there. I'll see you on Thursday night for a 5-hour spectacular. That was the Two Mics podcast.
Yes, it certainly was. Don't forget, it's out every Tuesday and every Friday morning on iTunes.
And you can follow us at the Two Mics.
So keep listening for more of MG's loose morals. Believe me, this boy hasn't got a moral fibre in his body.
And more of his bizarre buffoonery.
What?